Hey, what's going on, everyone? So, we don't normally do shows on Tuesday night. However, there is going to be a change in scheduling, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But we decided this morning, Shane and I were talking, we decided to just do a little pop up live here tonight. Come on with you guys out of the blue, hang out, and we got a great topic to talk about tonight. But first off, Shane, what's going on, man? Tell everybody about your new show you're going to be doing on Tuesday night.
Yeah, I'm going to be doing a show here. Hopefully 8:30 on Tuesdays or 8 or 9 o'clock. We're still discussing that with the voice of college football, Joey and company, and then I do my Mountaineer Mafia after, where we just kind of talk in the chat and talk whatever's on your mind. But Joey, I'm excited. I do love doing the Friday show. However, with my son playing playing high school football, and then college football being on Saturday, I couldn't do it until 10, and you have your trivia. So,
Yep.
Separate Gumby, right?
That's right. And Tuesday night worked out great because we needed a show on Tuesday night. And since I had to move trivia to Friday night, it really worked out great. Yeah. So anyway, so our topic tonight is WU underrated, is Penn State overhyped. All right, so what I meant by that title, what I mean by that, because I don't want to get all up in everybody's crawl at Penn State, right? I don't want all the Penn State fans coming at me and saying, oh, you mean they're overhyped. I don't mean that. Let me say this to every Big Ten fan that thinks Penn State's going to crush West Virginia. West Virginia's not going to be a pushover this year. But in saying that, Penn State is an amazing team. You're loaded. You are stacked.
Yeah.
I mean, you really are. Penn State's going to have such a great team, and regardless of the outcome of this game, I think you guys are going to have a great season. Now, this game, what I meant by the title is W underrated, is Penn State overhyped. What I meant by that is that's right now what we're asking. Which one is it? Is West Virginia underrated or is Penn State overhyped? Because this game's a great measuring stick, because West Virginia fans will tell you, we think this is a pretty daggone good team. We've been watching this game for a long time. I have. I've been watching this game for a very long time. And I can tell you right now, this team coming in right now, I think has the tendency to be as good as our 2005, 2006 team. And that was Pat White, Steve Slayton, and them. So you think that this team might be a pushover. You may be wrong on that. Now, we won't know till after the game. So one of my videos after the game, should West Virginia win, will be, was WVU underrated or was Penn State overhyped?
We'll know.
So we're going to have the answer to all this then. But I was watching a podcast or listening to a podcast just today, and this was a Penn State podcast. And I'm gonna tell you right now, this guy liked his bourbon because he was pretty drunk, and this was like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And so anyway, he's sitting there saying, West Virginia has not ever beaten Penn State inside the 2000s. Not one time since in the 2000s has West Virginia beat Penn State. Now, that was his words. Shane, how many times has West Virginia played Penn State in the 2000s?
Big old zero.
One last year.
Last year.
One. Sorry. All right. You're right. I guess he didn't lie, did he? I mean, we haven't beaten them in the 2000s.
We're 1-0.
Yeah, they're 1-0. Yippee. Way to go.
Undefeated.
That's crazy talk, isn't it? So, anyway, guys, I'm just wondering, is West Virginia going to be underrated this year? Now, this is not just a big game for West Virginia. This is a big game for the Big 12.
Amen.
This is the biggest game of the year for the Big 12.
More than they know. More than you know, Joey.
Oh, yeah. This is going to dictate whether or not we get at least 2 teams into the playoffs and maybe 3, right? This game right here can dictate that because if West Virginia can beat Penn State, and then if they go into Big 12 and say maybe lose 2 games but play for the Big 12 championship or something anyway, think about that scenario where West Virginia's been beaten a couple of times inside the Big 12. Maybe loses one during regular season and loses in the championship. Who knows? Think about that though, because all of a sudden there would be 3 teams in line to get right in the playoff.
Right.
West Virginia can pull off a victory here, and Penn State's got to go on to have a big year, right? To have a good season. So this is a big game all the way around for everybody. So I that's all I wanted to say. I had to go on a little rant. I forewarned Shane that hey, I'm going to go on a little rant here at the beginning of this thing
No,
because
it needs to be a longer rant because the conversation is this. And let's think about this. If you had 10 tokens, okay, and kind of like you're on a, like some kind of gambling table, you can put tokens on either thing. I would say I would put 4 tokens on West Virginia being underrated and 6 tokens being on PS. The Penn State Shitney Lions are overhyped. And it's not because Penn State's terrible. They're better than 80% of their conference. Hands down. Year in, year out, they are head and shoulders above their competition. The problem is they're a Corvette and there's a Ferrari and a Lamborghini in the garage. And that Ferrari is Ohio State and that Lambo is Michigan.
yeah,
And you think you think you're rolling, you're a baller on a budget, and you're acting like you're Billy Bankroll. You know what I mean? Sorry,
yeah.
Penn State. I respect the heritage. I respect that you have handled West Virginia over the years. Okay, that's true. But this is a new year. West Virginia returns 93% of the production from last year. 93%.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, the offensive line, even the naysayers are saying West Virginia has the best offensive line in the Big 12. Now,
yeah.
Garrett Green is ranked number 8, 9 as far as the same person, and we might not have the receivers, but we have receivers. We have the transfer from Oklahoma State, which he's very serviceable, and we have some cornerbacks that were brought in. Those would be the concerns. The linebacker core has the depth that we haven't seen in years, and the experience is there. I think these guys have been hurt, so West Virginia has a roster that has experience. They have a backup quarterback that has won two games in conference play. So over underrated, guys. West Virginia is underrated. Now their schedule is not easy.
No, it's not. It's a tough schedule, but it's still doable. And it starts week 1, Penn State, and don't have anything to do with the Big 12, I know, but guess what? It kind of does. It kind of has a lot to do with the Big 12 and the way the Big 12 can shape up. If West Virginia can pull out a victory over Penn State, the Big 12 can get 3 teams in the playoffs. I truly believe
they can. And here's the only caveat to that, and I'm going to be quick. Because Florida State got snubbed last year, there's a possibility there's that third team that ends up with hurt feelings at the end of the season. And what you have to do to make sure that those doors are shut is beat your non-conference opponents. And I'm talking to UCF, West Virginia, and then who plays Arkansas? Is that Oklahoma State?
Yeah, I think it is.
Oklahoma State. Anyways, you got to beat your non-conference opponents, no matter where they are in the pecking order in their conference, and that just shuts up everybody. But Joey, when we want to, I'm going to talk a little bit about PSU being overhyped. Throw some stats at you.
All right, throw them at me. Let's see what we got.
And this is role reversal, guys. Usually Joey is the stat guy, and I'm just, blasting from the hip. But we were talking about this, and I'm like, well, wonder what Penn State's record is against top 10 opponents over, say, the past 20 games. Guys, they're 3-17. 3-17. That's 3 wins to 17 losses. That
over the last 20 years.
Last 19 games against top 10 opponents. So it's just
19,
top 10 opponents.
It's top 10 opponents. Nice 19 games. Wow.
Yeah. So, 2 of those wins, of course, they beat a number 5 Wisconsin in the Big Ten championship game. They didn't beat Ohio State. They did beat Ohio State 8 years ago in 2016 when Ohio State was number 2. But how many times have they played them since then, Joey? 9 times.
Right.
So you're 1-9 against Ohio State. So I don't know, guys. You do the math. That doesn't sound like an elite program to me. Now on the back end, West Virginia's laid some eggs against some teams that they should have beat. But we're not here pounding our chest saying that we're, this isn't 2007, guys. We're not world beaters. The West Virginia.
Let me say how to everybody in the chat, because we've kind of like been going on and ignoring the chat. But I'm going to go first to top and say hi to Timothy Green. Welcome in. As always, love to have you here, Timothy. Jackson Johnson's always with us too. At West Virginia Mountaineer Mafia guy. Jackson, Kelly McCourt. Appreciate you being here, Kelly. I'm glad to see you here. Glad you're doing well. Because sometimes Kelly's not feeling well and can't be with us. But William in here. The cool team uniforms will be unveiled against Kansas State. Let's go WVU. Yeah, that's what I'm hearing too. Andy Heinrich in the house. That's got your email, Joey, and thanks. Dave Brown. Hey, Andy and Joey, Shane and Tim. Let's see what he says. Hey, Andy and Joey, Shane and Tim. Hey there, Dave Brown. Appreciate you dropping in. Dave, I sent you an email, brother. I don't know if you got them, but I sent you an email. Anyway, let's see who else got. Gamecock Chuck. Appreciate you dropping in with us. Timothy Green. How you doing, my friend? Talking to Timothy out there. But Gamecock Chuck, appreciate you being here with us tonight. All right, so now, if I missed you out there in chat, I apologize. I was just looking up through there. So Shane, if you're talking about the depth of West Virginia a while ago, and you talk about the linebackers, right? If you look at some of the names on the linebacker group, Josiah Trotter.
Yeah,
I mean, everybody knows that name.
Yeah, NFL linebacker from the Eagles. He's a All-Pro.
Yep.
This
is his son. He's healthy. He's back. He's doing well. He's the starter. Not worried about him one bit. A middle linebacker, Trey Latham. Another good one. This is such a good linebacking core all the way through. And even you get down there to the second one's in, you got Ben Cutter in there. So there's no reason whatsoever that people think that our defense is going to be weak, because our starting line, our defensive line is pretty much intact. Pretty good. The front seven. That back end needed a little bit of help, and it got a lot of help in the transfer portal this year. So I'm not worried about the back end of our secondary at all. We went after Beanie Bishop out of the transfer portal too, and look what he was able to do. I trust them in the portal. They've done some great jobs picking players out of the portal. If you look back over the last few years, think about that.
And last year we were having a conversation. Who the hell are these kids? Why are they transferring?
Yeah.
Where'd they get them? We thought they were just, it was the land of misfit toys, and Mr. Bumbles, and we're watching a Christmas special with claymation. No, Beanie Bishop is he's probably gonna start the first game. He started last week in a preseason game for the Steelers. He is an NFL starting cornerback or nickelback. Yeah. But shoot, guys, they got him in transfer portal.
Anyway, I'm going to drop a link down here in chat. I posted it once. I thought I did. Anyway, I guess it went in there. But I'm going to post a link down here in chat. If anybody wants to join in with us, love to have you. Drop in here. Let's talk some football. Hey, Dave Brown, if you want to, I sent you the link in your email to come in with us. But there's the link. Come on in. Let's talk. We'll talk some Louisville football if you want to. I don't have a problem with
Yes,
that.
we will.
Louisville,
I'm always singing the
Louisville
praises
to
of
the Big
Louisville.
12. Louisville to the Big 12. A couple of people we've noticed on the internet today have not been too much for Louisville to the Big 12. They're not putting them in their top 4 or 5.
No, I was watching a video. We're talking about this, and this is someone we know, and they mentioned Pitt, Virginia Tech, of course, Miami, but they put Miami way and NC State, but did not mention Louisville. And guys, I would put Louisville ahead of Miami. It's about money.
I don't know if I'd put them ahead of Miami, but I would put them ahead of NC State.
Well,
I would do that.
Let me tell you my logic here. I would put Miami ahead of Louisville if Miami had a 10-win season. As soon as that Miami gets a 10-win season, everybody jumps on the bandwagon. That area has sponsorships, money, but they just don't have the consistent fan base. They'll jump on the bandwagon. The merchandise will sell. People want to be part of that if they're winning games, but they're just not there, guys. It's kind of a
being posted up for us.
Yeah.
Bean, appreciate that, Bean. So yeah, we get Penn State at home. Really tough game. We get Albany at home. Okay, that's a cupcake. Then we got to go to Pitt, right? At Pitt. Then we open up the Big 12. And now listen, if there's a Big 12 gauntlet this year, West Virginia's going through it right here.
It's tough.
Right? We get Kansas at home. Then we go at Oklahoma State. Then we get Iowa State at home. We get Kansas State at home. Then we're at Arizona. I mean, that is how many games? 1, 2, 3, 4 games? 5 games.
So, guys, I look at that schedule, and I'm going to talk about this later on tonight at 10 o'clock. I might talk about this with what ESPN said, but I see Texas Tech as a question mark. It's not 100%. Thanks, Joey. UCF.
Sorry about that.
UCF, the Mountaineers should win. Baylor is a W for the Mountaineers since he's a W. Arizona's a question mark. Kansas State, question mark.
Arizona's going to be tough.
Yeah, absolutely. That is just as scary as Penn State.
But West Virginia plays good in the desert. West Virginia does play good in the desert.
Yeah, that's right. Fiesta Bowl but Oklahoma State, another question mark. Kansas. So Kansas is the one where you start like, okay, I feel a little better about Ohio State, feel a little better about Kansas State and Arizona. If they look good against Kansas, and I think out of this bunch, Kansas and Kansas State, I don't know, Joe, do you think Oklahoma State's up there with Kansas and Kansas State this year?
Yeah, I think Oklahoma State, as long as they can keep that running back healthy, they got to keep Ollie Gordon in the game, right? Because if he gets hurt, I think Oklahoma State's not a very good team. I'm sorry, I really do. Now I think they got a good offensive line, but I think there is no other talent around them except for Ollie Gordon. Yeah, and that's what I've been looking at. That's what I think. Jackson, and I could be completely wrong on that, but
you're the our sanity check. Are we totally off the mark as homers for the Mountaineers that Penn State has their chest puffed out a little bit too much? Hey, Dave.
How's it going, fellas? Go football.
Yeah, go football.
Man. And let me be more specific, college football.
But, is that Louisville hat?
Now, you reminded me of what was that? I think it was Big Bang Theory where Penny said "Go football" or something.
That's
you remember
right.
That? Anyway, so Jackson, I'm sorry. He was asking you a question.
He was asking me about Penn State puffing out their chest a little too much. Yeah, I can see that. They are puffing out that chest a little too much.
Yeah, this isn't 1986, and this isn't this isn't 2007 for the Mountaineers, but they need to be a little bit realistic. they beat Wisconsin a few years back, and that's a good win in a conference championship. But there's two teams that just they stumble over consistently. It'd be different if there's
Well, let me
parity.
ask Jackson, you're an SEC guy, and Dave, you're an ACC guy. So let me ask you two guys a question. If West Virginia can manage to beat Penn State, would y'all look at the Big 12 a little bit different this year?
Oh yeah. I think the Big 12 will get a little higher if they can get some of those big wins in non-conference play. I think the playoff committee should look at them differently.
I think so. Dave, what
Yeah.
about you?
Well, I'm wondering. It's again, it's not a professional mindset. Knowing all the players and different things, and how long is this, that, and the other. I have to go by tradition and my gut feelings a lot of times.
Yeah.
And I feel like they're all good teams, including mine, potentially. But Penn State is not a typical Joe Pa type of team anymore, I don't think.
Right.
They've had the guy. Is the newer coach still there? Been there 2 or 3 or 4 years? I can't remember.
Yeah,
Franklin,
James Franklin.
Right, and he's the one that came from Vanderbilt.
Right.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I like the guy, and a potential rebuild kind of situation for Penn State after all of the controversy, I guess. So I still feel like they're a beatable team because they're not back yet to where they were before. West Virginia,
right.
Not knowing the specifics like you guys do, again, but going by gut feeling, I feel like they're going to be competitive against Penn State and possibly even win that game because they're on an upswing, if you will. Sounds like from what I've heard, not that they've ever fallen far from grace, if you will, but maybe a little bit. And like a lot of
that means a lot coming from a Louisville fan. That means a lot coming from a Louisville fan.
I'm looking forward to coming into the Big 12 here in a year or two. That's my hope. Now, I've seen more talk about it with Florida State, Miami, and the fourth one.
What's the feel?
Is there a lot of pull? Is there a lot of pull around the Louisville area? Like, are people hollering they want to go to the Big 12 around Louisville?
I personally would like to see them accomplish something like winning an ACC title before they look to go into another conference, because that means, to me, all they'll have done is come in somewhere for 10 or 15 years and really not done a lot, if you will, football-wise. Granted, we were in the title game last year, but we fluked out and lost our last 3 games of the season. It's embarrassing. It's really a miracle we got to 10 wins anyway. If you think about it, with a new coach and all this other kind of stuff. And that's why a lot of people are up in the air about my team is, what are they going to do this year? People are staying as low as 6-6, and I'm seeing it. They can be as bad as 5-7.
Well, I hear a lot of people everybody's talking about Miami, Florida State, and of course Clemson. Obviously, which I am not very high on Clemson this year, guys. I see them finishing in the top 25, but maybe like about 22, 23 at the end of the year. I think the record's going to be like 8-3. I mean, 9-3. I mean, it's just not going to be that great. I don't think Clemson's going to set the world on fire. So, can Louisville do better than Clemson? That would be my mark. Can Louisville do better than Clemson?
I think Clemson, unfortunately, is going to beat Louisville again, but we're going to definitely wait and see what Clemson looks like by that time. And
when you said again, were you saying Clemson?
Yeah, I think Clemson's going to be.
I don't think we've ever beaten Clemson, so I'm looking forward to that.
Well, not in the ACC since you joined the ACC, anyhow.
Right, and I don't think we've ever played them before. I can't recall ever. Yeah. So they need to have more success, but it still would be nice to move. Would have so many natural rivalries. It'd be great to go up against West Virginia, Cincinnati. Even if I don't know about Pittsburgh necessarily, but look at the Miami and Florida State things.
Well, for Louisville, that Cincinnati game is money.
the keg of nails.
Yeah,
At least
that's
give
a
it some
money game
tradition.
for you guys. That's it's good. It's good football. You know, they've been playing for a while. Penn State it is back on the schedule, but I don't think it holds the water that the Pitt, West Virginia, going back to the 1890s. Come on, guys. It's one of the oldest rivalries, you know, not quite as
Yeah.
old as Princeton and Yale, or
Pitt
guys.
is
but-
our common opponent this year. I mean,
Yeah.
anxious to see how you do against Pitt. I think you'll beat them.
that would be a good test to see exactly where they match up. And you know, Jackson, I don't know if I've asked you this question, but I thought about it.
Okay.
If West Virginia, you know, West Virginia were to go into the SEC when instead of Missouri back in the day, do you think that they would have had an easier road kind of matriculating into the SEC with recruiting than they have the past 10 years trying to recruit to the Big 12 being in West Virginia?
Recruiting would have definitely been a hell of a lot easier for West Virginia, but there's a huge price. You think Penn State being in the Big Ten was bad because of the fact that they don't really have any rivals in the Big Ten. It'd have been a hell of a lot worse for West Virginia because it's like, who are you really going to have a rivalry with? Kentucky?
Well,
Yeah, but the fan
Kentucky.
base
I could see Kentucky, Tennessee. I mean, those would be
The
huge.
fan
Hey,
base
look,
could
we've
travel.
only played Tennessee one time. Do you know how big that game was to both West Virginia
Oh,
and
it was a
Tennessee?
huge
It was
game.
huge. Yeah, and if
But,
that
like,
and when we play
rivalry.
Kentucky in basketball, that's a huge rivalry. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
it's a huge rivalry. So you think about that. There would be two right away
Yeah, I think it's
for
an
West Virginia.
easier sell for like West Virginia, Kentucky, or West Virginia, Tennessee, or even West Virginia, Arkansas, than just, you know, like than West Virginia, Oklahoma State, or Iowa State.
True.
Texas Tech, Baylor. I mean, come
Texas
on, you know,
Tech.
it's
That's totally different. Now, if West Virginia travels down to Mississippi State or Ole Miss or Auburn, that's total culture shock. That's totally different. I mean,
Well, I remember watching a little bit of West Virginia Auburn on Thursday Night Football on ESPN
years ago. Yeah, that was good.
That was a pretty good game, and they played it in October. That was the fun part, was playing it in October. And I remember they played at Auburn in 2009 for week 3. I was coming back with my uncle from the Alabama North Texas game that day, so we were coming back home that day. But unfortunately, Auburn won that game against you guys.
Yeah, I think we beat them the next year in Morgantown, though.
No, West Virginia. Yeah, West Virginia did well.
West Virginia beat Auburn in Morgantown in 2008, but Auburn beat West Virginia in 2009.
Okay, yeah.
That's
right. And then I wish, like in 10 and 11, we played LSU.
Mm-hmm.
And in 10, we were at LSU, and, you know, we got beat. I don't remember final score of that game, but the next year in Morgantown was such a great game. Right. But Tyrann Matthews, he got them big balls up there and intercepted Geno Smith. And, you know, and I mean, he turned that game around for LSU in the fourth quarter. I can remember that. It was
competitive.
It was such a competitive game. And it's like Matthew just kicked into another gear. Like he just took that game over. If anybody can remember that game.
And it was one of the, I attended that game, and it was one of the environment, because I remember lots of LSU fans tailgating, coming to Morgantown, setting up over there by the Hampton Inn. You know, that I forget the color of that, the gray lot maybe. They set up like a base of operations, and were cooking good food. You could smell it, and they were the nicest people. The whole day was just a great day, topped off by a great football game. And that's what college football is about to me. And that's what I think about when I think about.
I love the non-conference schedule that LSU had that year, where they had Oregon and West Virginia. Yeah. And I'll be honest, I pushed for that quite a lot for Blue Bloods and college football playoff contenders. I mean, if you're a contender, I say schedule like one.
Yeah, true. You
Well,
got
I
to be
mean,
rewarded for that.
LSU had an amazing team that year. I mean,
Oh,
they
yeah.
were pretty daggone good.
But we beat their ass.
I don't know. 2019 was better though. 2019 LSU was it 19?
Yeah, I think
2019
that's when we won the
LSU was
national
better.
championship.
Yeah.
The Honey Badger, yes,
Borman's
Tim Green.
Borman South. Is that a building you guys are familiar with?
Yeah, that's a freshman dorm in
It is.
Morgantown.
I've got 50 friends on Facebook, not an astounding number. I mean, I got more friends on YouTube than I do on Facebook. It's weird. But I have one friend whose son is a freshman there this year. And he just posted something about it the other day and moving
Just
in.
dropped it. Now, those are kind of older buildings.
Right. He's in the band. So you'll see him on Saturdays.
Great.
Nice.
So I've not forgot about this. So let me do this real quick. I'm gonna put myself on full screen. And I don't know if anybody's seen that little video I put out that said I can't believe WVU did this, but they did it. So I got something in the mail on Saturday. I'm sitting on the porch with my wife. FedEx pulls up and gets out and comes up with a package for me. I wasn't expecting anything, I opened it up. And the first thing I see besides what's in the package was this right here. And let's wait for it to focus. There it is. It's
Oh,
from West
nice.
Virginia. It says, "Congrats, you're one of the lucky ones who have been selected to receive a Let's Go flag from West Virginia University. You're a proud Mountaineer, and we want to make it easier than ever for you to show it to the world. Wherever you travel or wherever you call home, we hope this piece of WVU reminds you that you are and always will be part of our family, West Virginia University." That's pretty cool, right? Then they give me this, and I don't know if you can see this, but it'll focus in. So
Nice.
it's a
Kansas
contest,
State.
and I guess I have no idea how you enter this contest, guys. So don't ask me. But you win. I know how I had to enter, and I guess it's only going to be for people that receive these flags. It win 2 tickets and field passes to the October 9th homecoming game against Kansas State. So they asked me to tag them at Western University on Instagram and X, and WVU Mountaineers on Facebook, which I did both of those. And I'd appreciate it if you guys would go in there and tag them too and tell them that's from Joey Foster. That would be cool.
There you go.
But anyway, here's the flag. Let me show it to you. It's pretty cool and well made too. Really nice flag. And so anyway, they've got a drive going. They want to get these flags in all 50 states. So if you live outside the state of West Virginia and you watch this at a later date or something, get you one of these flags. Get one of these flags and take a picture of yourself and tag West Virginia University. Tell them you're in Arkansas or Kentucky or Alabama or wherever you might be. Grab me one of them flags and tag them and let them know that, hey, supporting the Mountaineers. All right. Now, back to the business at hand, because I got a Kentucky and an Alabama fan in here, and I'm talking about how great the Mountaineers are.
Kentucky.
Or not a Kentucky. I got a Louisville fan, not a Kentucky
Okay, yeah,
fan.
you had me going there for a second.
I'm sorry, Kentucky fans. I didn't mean to insult y'all.
Damn.
Oh no, you know better than that. I like Louisville a lot better than I do Kentucky.
Oh, thank God.
Even though I hate Louisville.
Kentucky's overhyped. Everybody overhypes them too much. I'm
Yeah,
still
actually-
mad.
I'm actually a Marshall fan.
I'll be honest with you, Dan. Like Shane,
Sorry,
you know
Leftwich.
this, but I'm still pretty mad about Kentucky, Georgia being on Saturday night on ABC. Like Georgia's earned the right to be on Saturday night, but what's Kentucky done? They haven't beaten Georgia since 2009. They haven't done anything against Georgia, and they're not going to.
No, that's a shame. I mean, there's just the Penn State game should be a night game. I bitch about it every show. And, however, I'm going to go to the game. It's a noon kickoff. I figure this is my logic. Go to the game with my oldest. My youngest he's a sophomore. He's going to be playing some varsity. He has a 7 p.m. kickoff Saturday night. Ooh. Hopefully the game, if it's wrapping up at 3, we're going to hit the road, try to get back up there. It's like a 2-hour drive. So That's my logic. At least we'll get some to see, some of the festivities, watch some of the game, listen to maybe the fourth quarter on the radio driving home. But guys, I'll tell you what else are you gonna do?
I'll ask you a question, gents. When was the last time Kentucky beat Georgia in consecutive matchups?
Oh no, never.
53, 54. I'm just
1949 and 1956.
50.
But guess who the two coaches were? Bear Bryant and Blayton Collier. And what did Blayton Collier do? Well, he was the last coach to lead the Cleveland Browns to an NFL title. And this year is 60 years since the last year that the Cleveland Browns have won an NFL title of any kind.
That's crazy.
Hey, Kenny, I'll see you in there. Hey, let me ask you a question, Jackson, because I'm curious because you said something there that sparked my interest about this. I can remember Nick Saban coached teams pretty daggone good on special teams and stuff. When was the last time? Because I can remember. Oh my gosh, what was his name in 2014? Our wide receiver ran it back for a touchdown. Come on, somebody in the chat help me remember his name. My goodness gracious. Oh, I had it when we started, but when I started talking, but I've lost it. Anyway, you ever do that? It happens with old age guys. Anyway, he ran the ball back for a touchdown against you guys. He was quick, and I mean, just darted right past you guys. I don't remember Alabama giving up a kickoff return for a touchdown. I mean, this wasn't a punt. This was a kickoff. Have you guys given up a kickoff return for a touchdown since then?
Not that I know of. Not since then.
I gotta look that up now.
Man, that's amazing. That was like 2014. And I got to thinking about that because some of you said there, and I got thinking, I wonder if they have given up any because I don't remember. I remember punt returns for touchdowns against Alabama. I don't remember kickoff returns. That's an interesting thing to look up.
I just hope that college football doesn't have like the kickoff rules like the new ones from the NFL where you have to announce that you're going to do an onside kick and where you can't do onside kicks before the fourth quarter. That's a pretty stupid rule.
Oh my God! Really? In the NFL, that's the rule in the NFL now? Oh, come on! They're not kids. Why do they have to know what's going to happen? They're not. They're not middle schoolers out there on the field. These are supposed to be professional athletes. I know there's a safety issue in it. It's football, guys. People get hurt, and usually when you're trying to do everything to protect them and make them safe is when they get hurt.
The kickoff return in the NFL I saw for the first time on Thursday, and I was not impressed. It looked like rugby. It was terrible.
Steve Bean, but thank you, sir. Mario Alford. That's who it was
right.
Returned that kick. Mario Alford. Could not remember his name. I lost it there. So thank you, sir. Thank you, Bean. Bean's a man. Bean comes in and plays trivia with us. And he whips everybody. I mean, he's amazing.
Yeah, Kenny. Mountaineer Paul is the one who didn't pick Louisville to for the new Big 12. He kind of left them off his list, and that's I think that's a school that brings in quite a bit of revenue. Jackson, yeah, I know you've agreed with me in the past. Do you still feel the same way that they're?
I think he had to step away. His mic's
they're good value for the money, but
I think he had to step away. His mic's muted, so Jackson must have stepped away.
But no, Texas A&M in 2021 returned a kick against Alabama, and then before that it was like 5 years. So not very many teams have returned it against Alabama.
Texas A&M. Okay. So. All right.
Be right back.
Now Dave left. Yep.
No, but I'll be right back. 30 seconds.
Oh, no, but okay. Mario Alford was one of the best returners. Yeah, I remember he was electric.
Yeah, he was. He was. If he got that edge on you, you wasn't going to catch him. Now Tavon Austin, if he got that edge on you, you might catch him, But he
Right,
was
why
so
not?
shifty, he would just go around you. He would just make a cut at full speed and get around you, right? But now Mario Alford didn't have that cut ability that Tavon
He
Austin
was
did. But my God, them
great.
Jets. It was like James Jett. I know a lot of you guys don't remember
He's
James Jett.
yep.
James Jett, 1989 or 90, somewhere around there, and then went to the Raiders and played a long NFL career, 10, 12 years in the NFL. I mean, he was so fast. James Jett's the fastest player in the history of West Virginia University. I'm saying right now. I don't even have to look that up. I don't think anybody will ever beat his record. I don't remember what it was, but he was amazing.
And he
So
was a sprinter in the Olympics. I think the '88 Olympics.
won a
was it?
gold medal. Won a gold
Yeah.
medal. Yeah.
So you had sent me something about Tavon Austin, Joey, and he is now
Retired,
announced.
right.
Yeah, he's retiring. So what a
That
long
is.
storied career he had at West Virginia and in the NFL. So
Yeah, and go back and watch. There's a Diggity Dog has video montages of Tavon Austin. He does a great job too. I don't know if anybody's ever watched him or not, but he does a great job. He's got these montages. So he's got Tavon Austin's senior highlights. He's got Tavon Austin's junior highlights. He's got his NFL highlights. With each year. I mean, he's followed Tavon Austin through his career. Pretty fun to watch because hey, he didn't get the ball much in the NFL. He was a little guy, and they couldn't figure out how to use him, like West Virginia figured out how to use him. But they just never could figure out how to use him in the NFL. He could have been better than he was, but still has some amazing highlights in there where he taking some players out that you would, you know. So watch those highlights. What Diggity Dog, I think the name.
oh yeah.
Dog Diggity or something. So name of the YouTube channel. Pretty
So
cool.
so watchability for you two for Dave and Jackson. Other than Penn State, what game on West Virginia's schedule just kind of stands out as okay? I'm going to watch that game, and I'll let Jackson go first.
A lot. The Pittsburgh game, no doubt about it. I'm always going to keep an eye on the backyard brawl.
Okay.
Because, I mean, Pitt is a scary place to go to, especially if we see West Virginia pull off the upset over Penn State. Because
Those
you know
boys will
what
be amped
happens
up.
to top 25 teams that go to Pitt? Dreams go to die. And sorry in advance, Dave, but last year that happened. And to add insult to injury, it was on the CW. And Central Florida's winning streak in 2019 ended at Pitt.
Yeah.
Clemson, their dreams almost died in 2016, although it was at home for Clemson. And 2021, Pittsburgh defeated Clemson at Pitt. And people are forgetting like the great job that Pat Narduzzi has been doing at Pitt. I mean, I know he's not like Jackie Sherrill or Johnny Majors, but still though, he's done a tremendous job over at Pitt. I mean, that 2023 season, that was just a bad blimp on the road. That was just a bump. They're gonna go back up. But as for the rest of West Virginia's schedule, I'm thinking about that Kansas game because that's the revenge game for West Virginia. And 2022, the matchup was on ESPN Plus, and little did any of us know, a lot of us should have been buying ESPN Plus just to watch that game.
Yeah.
If we had known what we know now about Lance Leopold at Kansas at that time.
So I posted that link down there in the chat. I went. That's where I was so quiet. I was looking for this, and it's Doggity Dog, and he's got other West Virginia players on there too, and some highlights and things like that. So pretty good channel. If you're a West Virginia fan, you ought to check that out. Traveling Fools in the house. Yeah, what's up, my brother?
Yo.
Yeah.
And I'll say, if I had the availability to watch any game I wanted to, obviously I'd start with Penn State. The Pitt game, of course, is a curious one for me because it's a future opponent. Kansas, of course, as you mentioned, even Oklahoma State would interest me. as a matchup. A little bit Arizona, just because I want to see Virginia beat all of these
Yeah,
teams. Cincinnati as a rivalry, and then possibly the Texas Tech game at the end of the season would be
So
the ones that, and that's a lot of games. I mean, it just
no,
you
but
got
there's a
to
lot
win
of
it.
good matchups
Look
because
at
of the
opponents.
parity. It's not like you're lining up like I remember West Virginia schedule Rutgers. You knew the Rutgers are gonna lay an egg. There's maybe one or two times where Rutgers actually beat West Virginia that I can recall. There are other like Maryland was usually a win, but there was a couple years where they were decent and they split a series here and there. But there was always some teams scheduled. Temple, that you knew East Carolina. You knew that West Virginia would win. That's no longer the case. And Penn State still has that. They still have teams that they know they're going to have a W against. So the parity's there, and it's just hard to pick a game other than those rivalries of Penn State and Pitt that just pop off because yes, Kansas, that was the first Big 12 win for Kansas in quite a while in the new era for them. And that was the catalyst, I think, for their upward trajectory. I think that's where
and
the
the
ship was
catalyst of
right.
our downward trajectory
Yeah, we
in
kind of took a
people's
crap
minds
for a little
too.
bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So in people's minds anyway.
Yeah, Charles Taylor said it. Outside the second game, they're all must watch because there's 4 or 5 games where it's just a big question mark. You have
Yeah.
Kansas, you have Oklahoma State. Are they going to win that? I don't know, but that's going to be a tough one. Iowa State, ESPN
It's
thinks
in
we have a good chance,
Morgantown.
but it's in Morgantown, so I say Iowa State's going to be a win. But then, guys, you have Arizona. It's not a good 6-week period
No.
to be a
I
Mountaineer
tell you, so, like I know what you're saying because there's no measuring stick in the Big 12 for West Virginia. I can think about I can remember back in our Big East days and even independent days, we would play Maryland nearly every year, right? And we would play Maryland early in the season. It'd always be like the first 3 games. And it would sort of be a measuring stick for us. If we beat Maryland, we went on to a great season.
It was a preseason game.
If we lost to Maryland, we were going to go like 4-8. It was just going to be bad. I mean, and that just seemed to be like it is. So I see Mountaineer there with Kenny. I see a ceiling anyway.
I'll be
Are you with me?
honest.
Ah, there you are, Mountaineer. I see your ceiling. That's all I seen there for a second.
Hey
What's
guys,
up?
how's
How you
everybody?
doing, Kenny?
Doing
All
good.
right.
How you doing tonight, King?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Doing pretty good. Trying to make it.
You look like you just like been out sunning and just enjoying the weather a little bit.
Yeah, trying to.
Sun's out, guns out, right, Kenny?
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I'll be honest with you, Joey. I miss seeing the West Virginia Maryland series. Like
Yeah,
that
it was
was a
always
pretty fun series. Like they need to go back to playing each other every now and again. Like if I had it my way, I would make that an annual game. I would make Pitt, Virginia Tech, Maryland annual matchups.
And
Well, the
Louis.
fans
But
traveled well for that.
it,
Both
it,
sides.
I think if we all had our way, Pitt, Maryland, Virginia Tech, West Virginia would be in the same damn conference.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Louisville too.
And
Along
don't
with
forget
Louisville.
Penn State.
Yeah, and Penn State, and you're right, Louisville in there or something. Although Louisville's a pretty good ACC team down there in the South too. So Louisville's kind of in the neutral zone there. They could be either one, really.
Well, I mean, you look at the plays the times that we played them in the Big East, it was turning into a rival game.
Yeah, oh yeah, it was.
If it would have
Yeah.
had, if we would have had at least 10 more years with them,
2000.
that would have been a solid rival.
2005, 2006, it was always down to the wire, overtime, neck and neck. Louisville was always in the top 10.
Yeah.
I was there for the first 4 losses in the 80s.
That's
Yeah.
that's the thing about it is Louisville don't have a very good history against West Virginia. You've only beaten us twice out of
13.
20, 13, 14 times, yeah.
Yeah.
20 times, 30 times. 72 times. You beat us twice. Oh, never mind. Anyway.
3 out of
But now,
13.
but now we can't judge things on that, because if we do, then we don't have much to talk about for this Penn State game, because West Virginia does not have a very good history of Penn State guys. So
That's
yeah,
exactly right. But I think we got the advantage this year, and I'm going to say why. Because of the players that they are missing off of the offensive line. Our defensive line is going to take a next step up this year, so they will expose that front, and there will be more sacks this year. I'm predicting at least 5 sacks in the Penn State game.
woo, I don't know
Ooh.
about that. I mean, let me
They
tell
got a
you
good
what, Penn
offensive
State's
line.
got an offensive line now. I mean, they don't think.
Yeah,
I
but
mean, they got.
they lost 3 of them this year to the NFL.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they replaced them with 3 guys that are going to be going in the NFL this year. So don't let that fool you. They have talent on
Plus,
that
they eat
line.
that ice cream every show. I have to mention the
Right.
creamery
Yeah,
at Penn
but
State, man.
I'm not as high on Penn State as everybody else is. I'm sorry, I'm just not.
I'm not. I'm high on Penn State. What I wanted to know though is W underrated or is Penn State overhyped? What I meant by that though was that after the season, after the game, if West Virginia wins, I'm gonna ask that same question: was W underrated or was Penn State overhyped? That's what I'm trying to figure out here. Before we go into the season, what does everybody think? Even though the game's not been played yet and West Virginia hasn't won, let's say West Virginia can pull out a victory. Was West Virginia underrated or was Penn State overhyped?
They were
I
underrated
want everybody's opinion.
because I think Penn State's overhyped. That's just my personal opinion.
You think Penn State's overhyped? Dave, what about you?
What's the question?
If,
Sorry,
if let's say, so the title of this video is West Virginia underrated or is Penn State overhyped? So now what I meant by that is after the game's played, if West Virginia wins that game, my next video is going to be, was W underrated or was Penn State overhyped? So that's my question to you right now, preseason. Should West Virginia beat them? Is West Virginia underrated or is Penn State overhyped?
If Penn State wins,
No, if West Virginia wins.
oh, if West
If
Virginia
West Virginia
wins,
can win that game, was West Virginia underrated?
It's both. The WVU would be underrated and Penn State overrated. I think that's what it is.
So you don't think if West Virginia beats Penn State, so
I
Penn
think-
State's a top 10 team. You don't
Yeah,
think if West Virginia beats Penn State, you don't think they're really a top 10 team. You think Penn State was really maybe a top 15 team.
Or 20.
Dave, I think you're leaning the way I was. I said if I had 10 tokens, I would put 4 on West Virginia being underrated and 6 on Penn State being overhyped. So it's like a split. But however, it depends on how bad they get beat and what Penn State's record is on the season. Because if Penn State goes on and plays in the conference championship, I'm going to say West Virginia was underrated 110%.
Now, Joey,
Okay.
my question is for you. All right. Here's the thing. Yes, Penn State might have replaced them dudes, but do they have the depth in behind that?
They always do.
Oh,
They
yeah.
always
They
do.
got
I
that.
remember the 80s, they would like Joe Pa would put in like the second and third string in the second half and the scores still get run up. It's just their number 2 is as good as what West Virginia's putting on the field at number 1. And that's just the nature of the beast because like
It is. It really is. It's
like Bobby Bowden said, you know, if you fly over the state of West Virginia, what do you see? Trees, right? News reporters ask him that. He said, "Did you ever try recruiting from those trees?" It's been the hasn't changed in 50 years.
I just don't buy it, though. I don't buy it.
Well, it's just that it's not set in stone, right, Kenny? Because we're just looking at if you're going to look at the depth charts, you have to just look at star ratings. That's all we got to go on. We don't have a lot of film to see on these guys, right, from the depth chart. So we have to just go on star ratings. If you look at Penn State's average star rating on their lines compared to West Virginia, it's It's going to be in favor of Penn State all the way through the two.
I know I'm sounding like a homer here, but I've just sitting here watching how they disrespected our team this year, not even putting us in the top 25, and then not even they're disrespecting our quarterback. And I've seen the interviews that our teams has had. They're focused. Their mind is
Well, now
on.
I think I agree with you, Kitty. I agree with you. I think we're underrated and stuff. But I'm gonna tell you right now, I'd rather go in underrated and just show everybody how damn good we are
Right.
than to
Yeah,
come in
because
as a top 10 team and maybe disappoint us.
I don't think they're a top 25 team. And reason being is last year they lost against Houston, a game that they should have won. They lost against Oklahoma State. They should have won that. If they had won those two games, I would have been.
To any team in the country.
But
game
it happened to West
any
Virginia,
team.
and that's why they're sitting outside the top 25 because that's exactly where
What
they
if
should
that
be.
had happened to Alabama? Would they been sitting outside?
Alabama has ring after ring after ring. It's apples and oranges. I mean, I'm a huge West Virginia fan. I'm a season ticket holder now this year for the first time in years. But I just got to be realistic.
And you're a graduate of WU.
But what I'm saying is, would you say the same thing? Never mind.
No, go ahead, Kenny.
No, take your time.
Take your time. You're fine.
right.
I don't think anybody's disagreeing with you at all, Kenny. Please don't think we are.
I'm saying
we are disrespected. Look, West Virginia is the top 15. West Virginia is the top 15 winningest program in all of college football, right?
That has not won a national championship. Absolutely. Yep.
And we're the winningest team that's never won a national championship, right? But we're a top 15 team all time in college football. Last year we had the number one. Last year we had the number one rated running back in the country in Power Fours.
Mm-hmm.
Now, not, and you put all the other teams in there, but in Power Four, we were the best. So, is West Virginia bringing back some people? Yes, without a doubt. Is West Virginia going to be good? Without a doubt. But even though Penn State lost several players, they didn't lose that quarterback in Drew Aller. They didn't lose them running back. You know, they are stacked everywhere.
I understand what you're selling, but what I'm selling is our guys are more motivated for this game than Penn State is. And when they come to our house, they're going to be overlooking us at our house. So therefore, that's where we need to punch them in the mouth.
I'm optimistic, Kenny. And I'll tell you why I'm optimistic. Because last year you had a here's a green Garrett Green. Okay, he didn't have a lot of game time experience playing, quarterback position at the Division I level, guys. Okay, he learned. He didn't play his best game. He kind of learned from that experience. He learned. It wasn't until like the 6th or 7th game where you really saw him kind of like, oh, things start clicking. They were competitive. They ran the ball on one of the best defensive lines in college football. Okay, I'll give Penn State the praise when it's due. They had an edge rusher, went in the NFL, fantastic. They ran the ball on those guys. Okay, what killed them is Garrett Green couldn't make some of those passes, and receivers weren't getting open. I don't know, but if they could complete the passes, get it up to about 60%. I think it was 53% all last year.
With all the receivers they got, I think they're going to this year.
You're talking, yeah, it's going to be a game changer if he plays a little bit more efficiently, and they get some first downs, they have some momentum. It was competitive last year. It's going to be in Morgantown. They're all returning. They're returning more starters. I think it's in West Virginia's favor. Penn State has two new coordinators, and their first game is against West Virginia in Morgantown.
The new system, which means they need time to adjust to it.
Well, let's put one thing into context here. I mean, yeah, West Virginia had a good game on the ground against Penn State, but let's think about it. West Virginia was the best rushing team in the country in the Power Four, right?
Yeah.
Still only got 150 yards of rushing against Penn State.
Well,
only 150 yards.
The first half, it was they were running at will. The second half, there were some adjustments. And I think that kind of happened
Okay.
because I think they realized that West Virginia wasn't going to throw on them too much. And they just kind
What I'm
of,
trying to figure out though, is them adjustments. Didn't we make some adjustments at halftime too? I'm just
well,
saying.
I'm
So,
just saying this too, like Brown, first half of the season versus second half of the season, like the tale of two coaches. Okay.
yeah.
He couldn't get out of his own way the first few games. It was not looking good. There were some adjustments that needed to be made at some of those games that he lost.
Can
And
I
then
give you my 5 players? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
no, go
Shane.
ahead. Let's get your 5.
I want to give you my 5 players that I think is going to make a difference in this game.
Okay.
One of them is Josiah Trotter.
Yep.
Okay. Another one is Justin Robinson.
Okay.
Okay. Garrett Green with his legs and his arm.
Yep.
Okay. White
Okay.
and Taylor. Those 5 names, I think, is going to make the difference to where West Virginia takes this game this year, because they're playing for everything. Because most of them was seniors, and so yeah, they're playing for their homestand. So that's the reason I'm saying this game means a lot more to WVU than it does Penn State right now.
Oh, I don't think anybody will this game means more to the Big 12. And it does. It just means so much to the Big 12.
If West
because
Virginia wins this game, and let's say they finish the season at 10-2, they're in the playoffs. Doesn't matter if they're in the Big 12 title game or not.
Absolutely.
They're in if they beat Penn State and finish the season at 10-2.
Yeah, I would agree with that, and finish third in the conference or something. Yeah, I would agree with that.
They could lose the
In my
Big Ten.
opinion, the way the schedule is, even if they lose to Penn State and drop one in conference play, they'll still be in the talk.
That's true.
Well, now that's according to how the Penn State game goes, right? If we lose to Penn State 28-7, maybe not. But if we lose to Penn State 10-7, maybe. You know what I'm
Field
saying?
goal.
Or
Touchdown
maybe
or less.
like
For
say
the quality of loss.
or maybe like say 38-35.
Yeah, if you're scoring
Right.
on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything
Right.
close is gonna, is almost like a victory, almost. Not
But I
quite.
will say though,
In
if
the
you
eyes
beat
of the
Penn
voters,
State-
anyway.
if the Mountaineers beat Penn State, you better pull for Penn State to
Win
get
out.
a lot of
Absolutely.
wins.
I'm be rooting for Penn State then.
Hey.
Absolutely.
Ohio State,
Ohio
and Michigan, who? That's what I'll be saying. Ohio State and Michigan, who?
Yeah.
Come on, Penn State.
Well, it goes back
If West Virginia beats Penn State, I'll be the biggest fan of Penn State you've ever seen in your life, and I can't stand Penn State. My God. But I will. I'll be the biggest fan you've ever seen of Penn State. I'll root for them every game.
I'm still like steaming hot mad about that 2025 non-conference schedule that Penn State has. It's just too freaking easy. Like
What is it?
Penn State's non-conference schedule.
In 2025?
What about Utah's schedule this year? I think it's
Oh,
worse
gosh.
than most everybody.
Yeah, that's easy. It's the easiest schedule in the world.
And how did they get such high note? Because
They got
last year-
Nevada, Florida International, and Villanova on there.
I know.
Oh,
Those
for
are-
next year for
Penn State.
Ohio State. Oh, Penn State. Penn State
Yeah,
next
it's
year. Oh my God.
pitiful. It's pitiful.
You know what that is, Jackson Johnson? That's compensating for their loss they're going to get against West Virginia in the non-con this year. They knew it in advance, and they're compensating in 2025.
I'll probably be having another bitch fit about Penn State's non-con schedule before I go to bed anyhow. So it doesn't make me too thrilled.
Now, I am kind of disappointed in the way West Virginia, even with some of our own content people, are not jumping on the train with West Virginia.
I'm on the train. I really am kidding.
We just need
I'm
more
on the train.
people to support this team and get behind them for this first game.
No, I don't think
I've
any
been
fans
saying
are behind them. I think fans are just understand that it's a huge obstacle. Now, I'm predicting West Virginia to win, but you know,
I mean,
they
I know,
did.
I understand it's a huge obstacle, but it ain't nothing that we can't climb.
my official prediction was I really don't have any clue who's going to win this game because I really believe the two teams are pretty evenly matched.
Agree.
I think West Virginia is severely underrated. I'm going to state that right now so that
Yep.
after this game, I can tell you how underrated they were. I think West Virginia is severely underrated. I don't think Penn State's overhyped. I really don't. I think they are just as good as advertised. And I think West Virginia can pull out a win here. And that because they're so underrated, I really believe that West Virginia is just a little bit smidge better than Penn State this year, guys.
And
And
I
so watch out.
Yeah.
So that's the topic of
This
this
is my
show, and
prediction.
there's my answer.
This is my prediction. I predict West Virginia 28 and Penn State 16. That's my
Ooh,
prediction.
That's all confidence right there.
swag.
Nice.
Hey,
I-
you don't wear a shirt on a podcast, you can make that prediction, right? You got.
You
Yeah,
know
see
how
what
I
I'm
feel about
saying?
this game. I'm gonna tell you how I feel about this game. Defense. Defense is gonna win this game. Who can get some stops? Who can
Mhm.
stop? Who can hold, who can get some 3 and outs, maybe one
Yeah.
or two 3 and out, but who can stop them or stop the other team? And
And
you have to say Penn State's got a great defense. They've got an amazing defense. So can they stop West Virginia? West Virginia returns 93% of their offense, so that's going to be a tall order. They didn't stop them last year.
Okay.
Now, West Virginia's defense this year,
Mhm.
we're deeper at linebacker than we've ever been. Our
And deeper
our
at
front seven is pretty much intact. Didn't lose anybody, and
and deeper
we
at
did pretty good against Penn State last year. So, hey, there's a very very strong chance we beat Penn State straight up this year and things. So
Yeah.
watch out.
Joey,
West
pull
Virginia's
up Don
underrated.
Johnson's comment with West Virginia possibly winning by 7 or more. I'm going to talk about that real quick, and then I got to hop over to the other channel.
Okay, go for it.
So Don Johnson said, he has West Virginia picked to beat Penn State by possibly 7 or more. If that happens, guys, I'm thinking West Virginia should be a top 20 team. Now, this is a guy who thinks right now they're 28 to 30. I would put them right in top 20 if they beat Penn State. What are your thoughts? Dave, I'll go with you first.
I'm looking at CBS, and currently they've got West Virginia at 31.
That's about right.
So yes, and that's we're at 26. We have similar schedules, and I just see it. You've got 6 top 35 opponents, and we've got 5 or something like that, or 6 and 4. You've got a great schedule. You're already up there at 31, so to speak, and that's just CBS. It's one ranking, but the general feeling is that they are an upper echelon team, just on the outskirts of the top 25. Yes, give them number 20 if they beat Penn State, and Penn State will drop to like 18th or something.
Kenny, what do you think? Top 20 if they beat Penn State?
They beat
higher.
Penn State. If they beat Penn State, it'd be between 20 and 15.
Okay. Jackson, what do you think?
About West Virginia, Penn State.
If West Virginia beats Penn State by 7 points, where would you put them in the next week's polls if you were a pollster?
Hell, obviously above Penn State.
Yeah, that's a good answer. Joey, would you put them in the top 20?
Remember what I said? West Virginia is underrated. Penn State is not overhyped. What is Penn State? What is Penn State? 7th right now in the country, I think. 8th.
8th in what I saw the CBS. So
Okay, 8th. So 8th in the
Close enough.
country. So if West Virginia beats Penn State, I think Penn State's maybe 12th, West Virginia 10th. That's what I would do.
big jump.
Penn
Go ahead.
State is 8th in the AP preseason poll. They are 9th in the coaches poll, And let's look in the top 25 that actually makes sense right here at the Voice of College Football. Penn State is 11th, according to the.
I would drop West Virginia right in at like 18 to 20, and I would only ding Penn State, drop them maybe 4 or 5 spots. So wherever that falls, like Penn State would still be ranked higher, but I would, because West Virginia is coming in from 31. That's jumping right into the thick of the top 20 with a solid win over Penn State. Then with a victory over Pitt, Kansas, then that's when they start climbing in the polls, because then everyone's going to be a believer. Until then, it's just like, well, they're up for that game, and Penn State played. You can kind of write it off as an outlier. But
and Timothy's probably right with his statement.
Two players on the defense that I think everybody needs to watch is Aiden Garnes and Hollis.
On
defense, on corners.
Okay.
Aiden Garnes and Hollis on the other side. Those two right there have already come in. They're already having great things talked about them, and Neil Brown said they are more likely to be the starters. And they're both between 6'2" and 220 pounds.
Yep.
Well,
and they both can run, and they're lockdown corners. That's what they said. They were lockdown corners.
Well,
guys, I think we've got some good corners, but anyway, Mountaineer Paul. Oh my God, Shane, I was calling you Mountaineer Paul.
That's all right.
No, what the hell was on my mind there? I don't know what was on my mind there, but anyway, Shane, I know you got to run, you got a show, but listen, tell everybody where to find you, because we're going to jump off here and we'll all come over there and give you a thumbs up.
I'm just going to be on the West Virginia Mountaineer Mafia channel. I started up a couple weeks ago when I was on vacation. It's more casual. We just have more conversations like this, especially since the season's starting up. We'll talk a little bit about after games and a little bit of fun. What we're going to talk about is predictions for the whole season. ESPN did an FPI and broke down the stats and the percentage chance that West Virginia is going to win each game. I'm just going to go through each one of those, and we're also going to discuss at the end of the show your thoughts of Dana Holgerson is now working at TCU.
You don't want me there, then, do you?
I hope
you don't want me there. You don't want me there, that's for sure.
So you don't want me there either, because I have a lot
right now, Shane. Right now, Shane's saying, "Joey, stay off my StreamYard."
No, I want to hear it. I'd love to see everybody here jump over there in a little bit, and yeah. So we'll see at WVU Mountaineer Mafia. So predictions for WVU season per ESPN. We're going to talk about it.
All right, Shane. We'll all jump over there in a minute and give you a thumbs up. Go get your stream started. We'll be over. All right, guys. Well, so Dave has a great channel. If you like bourbon, especially. If you like drinking at 8 a.m. on the East Coast, Dave's the man for the job there. Tell them about it, Dave.
It's mostly hanging out with the weirdos that I've met on the YouTube street. Traveling fools kind of people, just some real characters. And yeah, Joey's a respectable lad, so I can't say anything bad about him. But Traveling Fools, anyway, he's a different story. And he's a Miami fan than you. Yeah. Oops. But I occasionally do a review of some bourbon, nothing fancy. Well, actually, it was pretty fancy last week. But and I'm going again tomorrow, Wednesday, half price Wednesdays. I'm going to try some rye out. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, thanks for the shout out, Dave Brown.
Dave Brown, Dave Brown.
I'm out of booze. I'm out. I have nothing.
Oh my God, your shelf is empty, man. Your shelf is empty. I've never seen it that empty. Usually, it's like usually full.
I recycled a lot of old bottles out of there, and I've still got a few up here too. They're all empty.
Kenny, you got anything going on over there on your channel with Mountaineer Lair?
No, not yet, but I will be soon. I'm thinking about going ahead and coming out right before the game. But
Well, no time like the present, what they say, right? You just gotta do it. Jackson Johnson, now listen, this man, I can be like Mark Rogers can be live on 5 different channels, and I'll pop in just to give a thumbs up. I generally even talk. I just pop in there, give a thumbs up, and move on because there's like lives everywhere. But Jackson Johnson's in there. He's typing in the chat. He's in all 5 of these lives, right? He's like typing in the chat. And then like you'll see him live on the stream and still typing in the chats on the other shows. And he's up there on the screen live talking. And so I'm like, my God, what the hell? This kid's amazing. So
telling
Jack,
everybody about Ducks
he's the
Live, telling
streaming
everybody
beast.
about what you guys are doing, and at the same time, I was typing in the chat for Wolverines Live. That's about to be over in a bit.
yeah. So I mean, it's like he's like the best spokesman for the voice of college football. And I knew he would be. I knew he would be. He's like a madman out there. So, but then on top of that, here's what the point I was going to get
Extra
at.
keyboards.
After he does all that, it's like all those live streams in, and all of a sudden Jackson Johnson has a new video out, and I'm like, where the hell did he find time to do that? He's been on Mark Rogers all friggin' day long, and now he's putting out a video when Mark goes off the air. I'm like, how the hell is he doing this stuff? So this guy is friggin' amazing. I think he's probably the hardest working man on YouTube. Jackson Johnson. Tell him about your channel, the Jacksonian.
Well, my latest 4 episodes were with Corey Smith from Pack Pride at 247 Sports. That was a pretty fun one. And the 3 before that were episode 42 with Johnny Burtz, where we discussed quite a lot about the Alabama Crimson Tide. And I had on Jay Smith from Unfair Sports and Locked On Sooners, where we talked a little bit about the Oklahoma Sooners, and we even talked a little bit about like Marvel DC comments and a little pop culture here and there. And for episode 44 of the Jacksonian, I was recovering from my sickness, and fortunately, I was able to film an episode with Parker Thune at KREF Sports and Rivals at OU Insider, where we discussed a lot about the Oklahoma Sooners joining the SEC and the recruiting class for 2025 and how Auburn could be an upset if Oklahoma doesn't watch themselves. And I'll
Now
tell
I
you
got
right.
a suggestion. Jackson. It's just a suggestion.
Okay.
When you're coming on the West Virginia channel, you're promoting this stuff, and you're going to talk about Oklahoma quite a few times there. It might help to have a West Virginia video where you discuss things with Coos' Corner or Mountaineer Paul or somebody in them last 4, so you can say, "Hey, West Virginia, get your ass over there." Have you put out a West Virginia video? Of course you have. Tell them about it.
Oh, I
Tell them
had
about the West
on
Virginia
Coos'
video.
Oh yeah, I had on Coos' Corner a couple months back, and for my second ever episode, I had on the Wolfman. Rest in peace to the Wolfman, one
Yeah.
best there is. And that was a pretty fun episode where we discussed a lot about the history of the backyard brawl and how West Virginia felt about Houston, Central Florida, BYU, and oh damn, there's one team, Cincinnati. That
Yeah.
they've been so mediocre under Scott Satterfield. They've been losing my head for a little bit.
Yeah. You know what you ought to do? You ought to make a little dedication video out of that video with the Wolfman, and I'll make you
Oh,
a video creator here so you can upload it to this channel. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
People would
And
enjoy that.
how is Dale's son doing? Is
They're
he
doing
doing?
they're doing great. They're doing great. Yeah. So
I
yeah, talk,
does
talk
he
to
got his
Talk to
channel
Stone
going?
sometimes. I haven't talked to Stone in quite a while, but Stone was doing really well.
Has he
So,
got his channel going or?
no, not yet, not yet. We've talked a lot about a platform about him doing a show here. We've talked about a platform for him doing a show on his own channel or on his dad's platform. I don't know what he's going to decide, and I wish him all the best, whatever he decides, right? Because
Right.
I'll support Stone 100%, whatever he decides. I
I
love the
mean,
Wolf
I
man.
hope he follows up his dad.
Oh,
What he
I know.
said.
I'm sure he will. Yeah. Yeah, but the whole family's like that, though. I mean, Craig and Ron Wolfley. You got Pittsburgh Steelers and Arizona Cardinals there. Play-by-play callers and color analysts and stuff. So the Wolfley family is into media and things, and I don't know which direction Stone will go, but I wish him all the best. So
Yeah.
anyway, guys, I'm going to end this stream for tonight. Let's all shoot over to W Mountaineer Mafia. That's going to be Shane's channel, Shane's show, W Mountaineer Mafia. And everybody shoot over there to that. And we will see everybody over there. Y'all have a great night. Love you.
Thanks for having me.
Later.